Hello and welcome to another Pocket Page process video. I'm Tracy, also known as MercyTiara, and today I'm going to be scrapbooking the first half of the month of October for myself and my family. I am using the Small But Mighty kit, which is from MercyTiaraKits.com, which is our shop. You can check it out if you're interested in grabbing one of these kits for yourself. Now, what you see there is more than the kit. The kit does not come with these little pockets, but I just put them in my little pouch so I would have them handy. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be using them. I also have a die that I sometimes use for attaching things to things. And I also have two frames that are picked out from the those are from the Take Me Home kit. Also from MercyTiara Kits, but that's from another time. These papers come in the kit, in the Small But Mighty kit, as well as half of a 6x8 patterned paper pad came, as well as some letter stickers. So I'm going to be using all of those things, and the Small But Mighty kit is designed to bridge the gap between your 12x12 scrapbooking products and your pocket pages. And so they are designed specifically to help you use your regular scrapbooking supplies for your pocket pages, whether you do Project Life or whatever else you might do, traveler's notebooks or little mini albums or whatever. I print my photos up to these standard sizes that are on the screen right now. My larger horizontal photos I print up at 4x6. My verticals I print up at 3x4. Those are the two pockets that are included in Becky Higgins' Design A page protectors. Then my smaller photos that might be poorer quality or just smaller, I don't want them to be such a focus, I print at 2x3. Any screenshots that I use, although I don't have any in this particular layout, are printed at 2x4, and any squares I typically print at 2.5 by 2.5, sometimes 2x2. So as you can see, I am just spreading these photos across the page, and I have a whole lot of photos here, and I'm trying to decide which of these photos will go on this spread and which will go on the next, because the more I did this process, the more aware I became that I simply have too many photos here, and I would like to document all of them. So I'm taking any photos here that have to do with Halloween or later in the month, and I'm moving them over to the side so that I can scrap that in another separate video. Now, that video is quite a bit shorter than this one. That page came together super quickly, and so you can check out that video on my channel as well. It should be the next one right after this, unless if I do something else in the interim that I haven't planned. So now that I've taken those photos out of frame, as you can see, there's quite a bit more room here for me to spread out, have some journaling to go along with some of my photos. I am going to be doing some flips here as well. And so that gives me just a little bit more real estate. It typically gives you 3 times the space, which is very nice. So my flip pockets, if they're on the left, I will use those plastic photo flips because there are no holes in the pockets on the left-hand side. But any pockets or flips that are on the right-hand side, I use a tent fold flip mechanism usually, and you will see that as we move into this process. So here you're seeing another one of those pieces of 6x8 paper that came in the Small But Mighty kit. I have used this kit for at least 2 Project Life spreads before this, so I don't have a ton left. These are some of the little cut aparts that came in that same set of pattern paper from the Small But Mighty kit. I'm just cutting up some more of them. These were more relevant to later October than they were to September, so I am using them more here. We release our Small But Mighty kits. At this point, we're planning to do them every 2 months so that they're designed to work with 2 kits, like 2 main kits in a row, but they will work with anything. You don't have to use MercyTiara 12x12 kits with them. You can just use them with your stash. They're actually a really great way to stash bust. So I am going into the Gather kit, which is the kit for the month of October. That's the 12 by 12 kit. And I'm picking out a couple of extra papers here because you saw me cut down that strip and then I cut it into 1 4x6 and 2 3x4s. I did that because I was looking for some pink. I really wanted to bring some more pink into this page, and there just wasn't enough left of the Small But Mighty kit to bring some pink in. So now I'm going to cut this scrap of cardstock from my Gather kit, and I'm going to cut it down to 6 by 8. It was the guts of a double page layout that I did, so I have 2 of them, and I just cut both of them down to 6 by 8. And now I'm taking my super inexpensive scoreboard, which I got from Amazon, and the scoring tool that you get with an inexpensive scoreboard is not going to be great. So I'm just indicating there that you could use a higher end actual scoring tool, but the scoreboard itself does not have to be super expensive or fancy because it's just a bunch of ridges that you just run a tool across. But the tool, I suspect, will get sharp over time and will probably start to tear the paper because I do have some experience working with those very inexpensive scoring tools, and they tend to sharpen and cut your paper eventually. But for now, it's brand new, so it's not doing that, but I am being careful. I'm going to cut this orange paper down to 3 by 8. It was already 8, and I'm going to score that at the halfway point. At this point, I'm just making a bunch of flip mechanisms for anything that I need the extra real estate for. So as I said, these flip pockets, they give you the option of an extra, it's an extra 2 sizes of the same card. So a 3 by 4 by itself just gives you 1 3 by 4, but if you put a little flip pocket on there, then it gives you 3 3 by 4 places to document and decorate. So it triples your real estate. Now I'm digging more into the Gather kit. I have plenty of leftovers from Gather. I did not use it quite as much as I was hoping because my month was interrupted by some travel. It was great travel. I'm not complaining. Got to go to New York City, so no complaints here. But I didn't scrapbook as much as often this month, so I've got plenty of Gather leftovers. Here I'm trying to decide if I need all of these photos or if I'm going to do a flip or not. And this was about a board game that we were playing. So I went and grabbed the board game sheet of paper. You see it there over to my left, the left of my hand there. And I'm also just Googling it and trying to get a screenshot of the front of the game itself so that I can incorporate the board game cover into my documenting. So that's what I did there. And between that photo, which I printed up at 4 by 6, I don't want it to be 4 by 6, but I'm not going to bother with figuring out how to print it smaller right now because it's not showing up on my computer quite yet. I generally print all of my photos from my computer to my Epson PictureMate PM400, which is a 4 by 6 photo printer, but it also has the option of printing at 5 by 7. So it's a great printer. I really love it. Really great quality, as good as sending out your photos to Costco or one of those places. Now I'm going to start the scrapbooking journey right here, and my little place that I was keeping my layout was falling down, so I have to change where I'm keeping my page while I'm not working on it. There we go. We're all set now. So I'm starting with my title card, which is totally optional. You don't need a title card, but I've been really enjoying making title cards for the past probably year or so. So I've been going ahead and doing it, and I thought I could use one of these foam stickers from the Gather kit. I didn't use them all, and I'd love to use this one right here. And I'm going to hand write, only the mistake I make is because I'm scrapbooking this in November, I'm writing November of 2023. And I don't know when I realized that I did that wrong, but I did it wrong because I'm actually scrapbooking October of 2023. So that looks really nice as it is, but I'm going to have to fix that when I realize the mistake that I made. I thought I could maybe decorate the edges of this with these wood veneers. These are freckled fawn wood veneers that came in the Gather kit. And And then I changed my mind about that and thought, well, I have all of these stickers that I'm sort of trying to use up, and I want to use them now because they're very seasonal. The MTK kits are often not themed, or our intention is for them to not be themed, but I couldn't resist a fairly heavily fall themed kit for the month of October. So here we are with lots of fall themed goodies to play with, which is awesome. But, of course, they'll be good next year when fall rolls around. And also, sometimes I do scrapbook out of order. So it's possible that I might come back during a non-fall time to scrapbook these. So it's good to have extra fall supplies on hand. I don't have a huge stash of fall themed items, so it's always nice to have a little bit more to give me more options for that kind of scrapbooking. You saw I just took my scissors and just trimmed that right off and rewrote October 2023 underneath of it on the card. And that's not a perfect solution, but it's an okay solution. You can tell that I cut that off, like it doesn't have that nice rounded manufacturer's edge to it, but that's okay. This is a little cutoff. That little zigzag piece at the bottom is a cutoff from a border punch that I used on a layout this month that you might have seen the process video for. It used the picket fence. That was a border punch from Creative Memories. And so I kept the little offcuts because I really like those interesting little jaggedy edges. They're zigzaggy edges, I should say. And I also had pre-cut a die cut tab from Ellie's Studio. That's that navy blue tab that's sort of poking out. It looks a little bit like a denim blue. And so I want to use those little leftovers on this card with the hot chocolates that my daughter was making for her friend and her bus driver. And I want to add some journaling here, and the tab is not going to be enough, but I'm playing around with adding some journaling labels from my stash. These are my Studio Calico journaling labels, and then these are my Traveler's Notebook shaped and sized labels from Studio Calico. I don't know why I have so many different ways of storing Studio Calico stuff, but they make things at all different sizes. That's why. So anyhow, this is my little stash of that. And I just found that those first labels were not big enough. They weren't wide enough either. They were just kind of being lost on the page. This one is more substantial, and it allows me to bring a little bit of color into this card. This card is from the Small But Mighty kit. It's part of that 6x8 paper pad. It is so easy to cut 6x8 paper pads into project life-size cards. It's unbelievable because it's so easily divisible into both 4x6 and 3x4s. So super, super easy. If you haven't tried using a 6x8 paper pad yet for your pocket pages, I highly recommend it. Also, the patterns on those papers are smaller scale, so it works on these smaller projects. I'm using that pre-made tab that I had made for another layout, and I'm just writing on it. I wrote hot chocolate just so that it's clear what is in those cups. And then I'm going to journal on this green graph paper label. It says, Sophie prepares hot chocolate for Mads and their morning bus driver. There's a bag of milk on the counter there too. We recently started buying our milk by the bag instead of by the jug, which is a very traditional, almost like an old-fashioned thing for around here in our part of the country. I'm on the east coast of Canada, and I grew up using bagged milk, and my husband grew up using bagged milk. And this is the first time I've used bagged milk as an adult, but it's definitely easier on the environment, so that's why we decided to make the change. There's less packaging, it's cheaper to ship. There's lots of good reasons for having bagged milk. Plus the nostalgia factor for those of us who grew up with it. So now this is a very important 3x4 card. I used a piece of pattern paper from that Small But Mighty kit, and I am spelling out hooray with the letter stickers from the Small But Mighty kit. Look at all those letter stickers. I love having so many color options. And there are 3 different sizes of letters as well. This is a very important card because my daughter started learning German on Duolingo a long time ago. Over a year ago now. and it started as something that she was really interested in because we had a German international student. Now she's planning to visit Annabelle next summer, and I think Annabelle might be coming here to visit as well. So we're super pumped and excited for that. And Sophie has not missed a day of her Duolingo learning German in a whole entire year. And now it's been well over a year now, and she is still going strong. So I'm picking up on that darker orange color that is on the Duolingo screenshot. And as you can see, I just have a little piece of paper that's actually the packaging for the letter stickers. And I write out my letters, my words, and then I figure out where the center is by putting that little line. And then I can spell outwards from the center and end up with my words mostly centered. They don't have to be perfect, but at least I'm not, having them way off to one side accidentally. I wanted to just say Sophie's year-long streak, so I just did some captioning along the edge of the photo there because it's not 100% clear. It says, you can tell it says my other favorite daughter, which is the name of her on my phone, but just in case we forget which one was my favorite and which one is my other favorite, I wanted to say which daughter that was. Here's a photo of that same daughter's room. She was reading and kind of hiding while she read. And so I just added a sticker to that photo. It's a pretty busy photo, so it didn't need very much else. Now, this is my in-laws' table set for Thanksgiving dinner. I've been being a very bad scrapbooker lately. I keep forgetting to take photos with people in them. I did remember to take a picture of the table, but I forgot to take pictures of us sitting at the table or a group photo and that sort of thing. I've been forgetting more and more. There's more than one occasion in this very spread where I've forgotten to take pictures. So the empty table it is, and then the journaling will have to do the rest of it. So I put that little give thanks cut apart from the Small But Mighty kit there too. The whole thing is on that pattern paper from the Small But Mighty kit, and I'm going to put it in a photo flip. These Simple Stories photo flips are awesome. I've been using them for many, many years. They stick to your plastic page protector, and I haven't had any problems with them coming off. I can see that if you really pulled at it, they would come off, but as long as you don't, they don't typically come off. So I haven't had too much of a problem with them. I'm dipping into the Gather kit and cutting out some more 4x6 cards here that I can cut them down to 3x4 if I need to afterwards. But again, using one of these photo flips triples my real estate. So I've got lots of space here. And now I'm actually going into the Take Me Home kit because the Take Me Home kit was the kit for September. I had lots and lots of leftovers for that too. And there were some leftovers of these die cuts from the American Crafts Farmstead Harvest collection. And there's other Farmstead Harvest in the Small But Mighty kit. So these work really, really well together. And like I said, the Small But Mighty kit was designed to work with both of these kits. So it makes sense that I can draw from either one of them. Now this is a little tag. It has these perforated edges on it, and I quite like the texture that adds. So I'm not going to do anything like cutting off those perforated edges or anything. I just outlined it to give it a little bit more emphasis. My journaling here says, Sophie made a pumpkin pie from Rice Krispies, marshmallows, and pumpkin spice. Yummy. And I put pumpkin pie in quotations because it's obviously not a pie. It's just a Rice Krispie treat, but we made it look like a pie, and we ate one the day before, and then we brought the other one to Thanksgiving dinner at the in-laws down in New Glasgow. I added a staple for even more texture, and because this gets lost on that pattern paper with all of those beautiful pumpkins on it, I did some outlining just to help those elements stand out and be differentiated from the back. Now this is a photo that I trimmed down and lost some of the white border on, so I'm using a white Jelly Roll 10 pen to just add the white border back onto that photo. I will sometimes use corrector tape to do that as well, but I don't have any right now on hand. I'm just taking some more of those little die cuts from the Farmstead Harvest die cut set from the Take Me Home kit, and I am putting them here and there just to balance off this overall layout. Now, the treatment that I made to the tag on the backside of the flip with the pumpkin pie Rice Krispie treat. I am treating this same tag, the coordinating tag the same way. So I outlined all around it, and I also outlined that little orange strip at the top, and that makes those two tags coordinate with each other even more. I decided to add a different little cut apart piece here because that piece said the same thing that it said thankful, and I already had thankful on the page, so I just changed it to this one that says leaves are falling and autumn is calling, and it has a picture of a home on it, which is very nice and cozy. And because we were at my husband's parents' place, I thought that the home was appropriate and looked pretty cute. So I'll just put away those die cuts so I don't mix them up and forget which comes from which kit, so that I can inform you guys appropriately as I narrate future videos. This is an Ali Edwards set of chipboard pieces that I thought I would use the tab from. With these photo flip pockets, sometimes you don't notice them in the page when you turn the page of your project life. And so I like to, especially on these plastic cards, I like to include or in the plastic pockets, I like to include a tab just to let the viewer know that there's something interactive here. Sometimes I will do something to the back side of that tag, like I might layer two tags together, see how it's unfinished chipboard. I'm not here because this is a fall themed layout with I'm adding that cozy sticker there. It says Cozy Day. And this is a fall themed layout, and it has a rustic kind of a feel to it. So I thought that the unfinished chipboard didn't look too bad there, so I decided to go with it. But I have been known to paint or even to heat emboss the back sides of exposed chipboards in mini albums or project life and that sort of thing. So here I'm trying to decide. I have this letter and I can't decide. I took a photo of, it's just a thank you card from an organization that we made a donation to. My company made a donation to it. And I was going to include it, and then I just decided not to. So I don't know. I just decided not to. I thought that the eye needed a place to rest here, and I wanted something decorative here. So I went back into the Take Me Home kit, which has these fancy pants, beautiful embellishments, these die cuts. So I took this tag that says, be happy, be bright, and be you. I don't love things that say be happy, but because I'm a firm believer in you feel what you feel, and it's okay to feel things, and emotions are a state, not a trait. But I like this one because it also says be you, and you gotta go with what the companies are manufacturing these days, right? So I am finished the first page and moving on to the second page. But that filler card really does give my eye a place to rest there. And I do like when you see the overall photos, I think you'll see that it balances out the overall page fairly nicely. Now I pulled out this stamp set. This is our stamp set from MercyTiara Kits. It's the Take Me Home stamp set. It was designed as an add-on for the Take Me Home kit, which has this really fun cooking theme. It's a gentle theme. It's not heavily themed, but some of the items in that kit have a cooking theme, and we designed this stamp set, and I absolutely adore it. I'm always looking for an opportunity to use the phrase nom nom nom, so this pie with nom 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 on it was just begging to be used on this pie, and I thought that stamping it right on the pie was a fun idea. This particular photo already has a 12 by 12 page that goes with it, so I can kind of take some liberties and have some fun with the photo here. I'm putting this on one of these tent fold cards that you saw me cut at the very beginning. This is using scraps from the Gather kit. That orange Swiss dot cardstock was in the Gather cardstock add-on. I'm just going to reinforce the fold there to make sure that it stays mostly folded. And I find that my homemade fold tent flip pockets, they stay flat a lot better than the stiffer paper that I used to use before I started designing the Small But Mighty kit. So there's a little side effect that I wasn't expecting that I love about using the MTK Small But Mighty. This cutie pie is a die cut piece. I think it was a cut apart from the Take Me Home kit that I have been wanting to use so much. And just every time I tried to use it a couple times and it just didn't make it onto those pages. So I'm happy to put it on this little flip pocket. Even though it's a pumpkin pie and I'm documenting a apple pie. This die cut here says, "You're the apple of my pie," which I thought was pretty cute and funny. My journaling here just says, "Scott's apple pie is delish. He makes it from several varieties of apples, which we pick in the valley each year." Now, this is something that I wanted to talk about in this video, which is the idea of having a consistent storytelling thread throughout your pocket page album. So the page before this shows on an insert our trip to the valley to pick apples. And so I love when I'm looking through my project life to see something and then you flip the page and you see the next thing that kind of goes with that story. And so including these little details are really important to me because it gives this sense of consistency, and it almost, as a viewer, I think it kind of makes me feel more engaged in my own stories, and I hope that that's the effect that it has on the viewer of these albums as well. This next one beside it was a separate photo. It was a time that I was making something in the kitchen. So I said I made keto mac and cheese with cauliflower. And I'm going to talk more about that on another part of this page. So that will make make more sense because I don't do a keto diet, but I'll say why I did it on another card. Now, I think this might be the third time that I'm documenting the progress of the scars on my nose. And so I do this real time with my patrons. So sometimes I'm pointing and talking, and that's part of my real time process videos over on Patreon. So I'm going to actually journal on my face here because I don't have much room for journaling. So I'm going to put these lines right on my cheek. I'm going to actually add a couple more lines, one more here, and then I'll go back and add more when I run out of room. So I really wanted to I was pretty sure that this will be my last time documenting this. So my journaling here says only 2 small keloidal scars on the right and almost invisible on the left. So in late August, I was bit by a dog in quite a traumatic kind of a way. And I documented it in a kind of like a low-key way. I don't want to have like horrible, awful pictures in my project life or anything that are kind of jarring. But I did want to include, you got to include the negative when you're scrapbooking real life, or you don't have to, but I like to. You do you, right? But so anyhow, I have also I documented it when it happened, and then I think I went back and also documented what my scars were like over time. And so this is a follow-up on that because now they're almost gone. I'm feeling much better about seeing myself in mirrors and pictures and so on. So it kind of wraps up that story a little bit. Obviously, a trauma is something that you carry with you forever, but I am feeling much healed and better about the whole situation. So I thought that was important. I put "How goes the nose" on the outside of this, which further emphasizes the lightheartedness of this, that I can be lighthearted about it now, whereas I couldn't before. Before it was a pretty serious topic for me. It's not unserious, but you know what I'm saying. I've come a long way. This is good. The human spirit is resilient and strong. So how goes the nose? There we go. And I'm just going to reinforce the fold and put that aside. Now, this is a photo of my daughter, not of my daughter, but of my daughter's cards that she made. She spent a whole day crafting and making cards using my supplies, including some of the Kelly Perky LGBTQ stamp sets that she put out. I forget what the name of that set was, but it was very relevant to what Sophie was scrapbooking or making cards for. So I just centered that photo. I had to trim it down a little bit. I outlined it, and now I'm adding some journaling lines above and some journaling line below. My journaling here says Sophie spent a day making cards for her equity team to fill out to send to West Pictou Consolidated School because their pride flag was stolen like Bayview's was last year. This is another thread that goes through my project life because back in February or March, the pride flag was not only stolen, it was stolen and burned, and somebody took a video of them stealing it and burning it. So it was investigated and determined to be a hate crime. And I have mentioned in my project life off and on throughout the months about how Sophie was doing with her coping about that. And she ended up joining the equity team, and I documented that, the application process, when she was accepted, and all of that. And so now this is just kind of like a nice progression of storylines that weave their way through my project life. And I'm really noticing that as I come towards the end of the year of this project, that this one, more than any other, it doesn't feel like a whole bunch of unrelated memories, although there are some just random one-offs. It really does feel like a story being told, which really makes the process way more satisfying for creating and also makes it so much more enjoyable to flip through and look at. Here is the actual piece of paper from the board game. It's a flip and write board game. So there's a set of cards and you get these sheets and you fill out the sheets as depending on what cards are showing up. And so I cut it down a little bit and I'm overlapping the banner with the actual game piece so that you can see the full banner. Sophie won that game, so I wanted to include the banner with her name on it. And I did have to use an app to print this photo because I couldn't get it onto my computer from my phone in a quick and easy way. And I was live and I was kind of streaming with my patrons watching, like I was making a real-time video at the same time. So I didn't want to spend too much time. So I will share that app later once I have a little bit more experience with it. But I did use an app to get that photo printed at such a tiny little size. And I'll share that with you on a future video. I'm taking this Studio Calico stamp set. This is one of my 6x8 stamp sets, which I don't particularly like having because they're large and hard to store, but I actually really like this one. This one has this currently card on it. It's like a data card. I've used it a couple of times and it fits very nicely in a 4x6 card, or pocket. So I'm going to stamp it onto a scrap piece of paper here. I'm using foam because it's such a large stamp, I want to make sure that it stamps well. So I like to stamp onto a firm foam pad when I'm thinking it might be tricky. I'm using Stampin' Up! Ink here in blue. And as you can see, that's stamped really, really well. I just stamped it onto an envelope, actually, that I received a card in, and I just liked the creamy paper, so I just kept it. Now I'm going to trim it down with my small trimmer here. And I'm just using the image itself to line it up. I'm not cutting it at any particular size because I already know that it fits really well into a 3x4 slot. So this stamp set comes with not only that currently little data piece card, but it also comes with all these little icons that you can put inside of that little square. And there's a couple of other mix and match pieces on this stamp set. I really love this stamp set. So one of them was a board game. So I grabbed that and I stamped it in pink ink from Stampin' Up. And now I'm just using my super tip markers from Crayola. These are super inexpensive. You might have a set in your home already if you have kids because they're a common school supply item. And I'm just taking a variety of colors that coordinate with the colors that are in the board game itself. So those pinks, the blues, and the bright, bright yellow. And I needed another color, so I added green. There is some green on the data part of the, like on the scorekeeping part of the game piece. And then, oh, look, that photo is just a wee a little bit too big. One of the things that I love about this app, it's called Print to Size, by the way, if you want to check it out before I do a formal review of it. But one of the things that I love about it is that you can print at a specific size. So I just took a look at what it was printed at. I can't remember the exact numbers, but I just made it a little bit smaller because I knew just a little smidgen smaller and it would fit inside of that square. And as you can, it's not a square, it's a rectangle, but it fits very nicely in there now. So I'll put that stamp away so I don't lose it, and then I will put that piece right there. And I'll put the extra photo of, now remember I said that I was trying to decide, I'll fill in the data for this card with the activity was relaxing, it was indoors. I forgot to put the date, but it kind of doesn't matter. It's on my October spread. It says playing Next Station London, which is a fun and casual flip and write game of strategy. We love that you can play it quickly. Now, I was trying to decide between the two photos, and I obviously decided to use them both. The reason is that this photo shows the game piece up close, and then the other photo shows all of us people who were there and not just Scott and Liv. So that's why I decided to go with both. Now, these are two separate 3x4 cards, but they're going to go into a 4x6 slot. And this is a photo, it's a screenshot that I took of myself and Annabelle. We watch Lost together every week, and she's in Germany, and so we screen it on Disney Plus, and we also FaceTime and send that up to the TV. Anyhow, it's a complicated process to get started, but it works really, really well. And so I wanted to document that. And one day, where she was sitting and where my phone was aligning myself with her, it looked like she had a framed photo of me on her wall, but it's a framed photo of something else, and just me is the overlay on my FaceTime screen showed me there. So we did a little pose so that I could take a screenshot. Now, I have this fairly old stamp set from Kelly Perky. It's called FaceTime, and it's from 2018, so I don't know if you can still get it. Probably not. But it has these little phone outlines that I just happened to be sized perfectly so that I could stamp a phone outline over my own self there so that it's going to look like a cell phone. I have some more of those Super Tips markers, and they're great for coloring small things. And so I just colored that in a darker colored gray, and then an even darker colored gray for the little place at the bottom. And cell phones don't look like that anymore, but it still looks like a cell phone. You can tell what it is. And now I have a variety of other stamp sets here. The FaceTime stamp set actually says FaceTime, but it's pretty clear that we're FaceTiming, so I don't feel like I need to say that. And I'm also using this super adorable stamp set. It's called All the New TV, and it's from Everyday Explorers. And one of the things says, this show can't stop watching. And so I thought that that was pretty appropriate because this is, I think, my fourth playthrough of Lost, which is not a short show to binge or to rewatch, but I love it, so I do it. And then we have another stamp set here from the Paper Person shop, which is called Now Watching, and it has this little circle that says streaming on it. So I thought that that would look good right here on this photo. And so I'm going to ink that up in black and stamp that right in the space between Annabelle and I. It says streaming, and it has a little play button in the center of it. So I thought that was super cute. I have some others here. One says binge watch or weekly watch, and that is appropriate too because we do watch this every week. Now I'm stamping this one from the Now Watching set from Paper Person, this show Can't Stop Watching. And then there's also the little TV from the Everyday Explorers stamp set that I already told you about. And on that one, there's also a rating. No, it's from the Now Watching set that the rating stamp set is from. And it just has 4 stars there. So I will put all of those stamp sets back so I don't lose them. And then I have this card that has some space for journaling. I'm going to use my journaling template here to make all of these lines. I'll just fill the whole space with lines between the two stamps. And my journaling here says FaceTiming and share playing Lost with Annie each week is something I look forward to. I love to see her reactions to all the island's mysteries and plot twists. I miss her so much, but it's nice to see her. I sort of ran out of space. I'm using my Super Tips markers again to do some light shading on the TV and to fill in the rating so that it's a 4-star out of 4 stars. And you already heard my journaling. So skip forward a little bit and we'll add some red to the play button on that stamp, and then this pair is done. They will be going in a 4x6 pocket, so they will need to be taped together. I usually use washi tape for that. And now let's move up to this one. So these two 4x6 cards that will be side by side, one of them is just a photo and probably isn't going to have anything on it at all, maybe some journaling or maybe not. But this one here is, I'm thinking it's going to be a flip page. I have the structure made, but then at the last minute I decided maybe I just stick it in without a flip and layer the photos like this so that they'll all fit. But I don't want it to be on a white background. I want it to be on some other kind of a background. Now, these cut aparts came in the Gather kit, and I've been wanting to use them in my pocket pages, but I've forgotten that until now. And I'm already towards the end of my early October page. So let's get this onto this page. I can't really put them like that and still have the floral bunches showing on either side. So what I've decided to do is make them cascade across the page diagonally and hang off the edge, and then I'll trim it down. And I just strategically positioned them so that they weren't covering anything that I wanted to have visible. And then this is another stamp set from Everyday Explorers. It's a back to work stamp set. And it says, no, it's not. It's a crafting stamp set, and it's not from Everyday Explorers. It's from Kelly Perky. And it says getting crafty with friends. And this is the other time that I forgot to take photos when people were actually here. It's me and all of my imaginary friends at the empty table with craft supplies set up. But I do promise I actually do have real life friends, and they came over to my house and scrapbooked. So my journaling here says, I had a crop with Jen, Allie, and Steph, in brackets crop and cuties, but forgot to take pictures. Sophie took care of the snacks, and I made keto mac and cheese for Jen. I wanted to say for Jen there because I wanted it to be clear. I didn't want somebody to misunderstand and think I was on a keto diet, which I'm not against. I just am not doing that, so I didn't want to confuse any of the people who look at my project life to say, oh, they were doing keto then, but we weren't. So here is my completed page. And the final touch is going to be some confetti mix every here and there. Wherever there's a little bit of white space that is not something that I want your eye to rest on, that's where I'm going to put some little sequin pieces. These confetti mixes, this one came in the Gather kit. They are the highlight of my scrappy life. I adore these sequin mixes. I'm going to put them in little sets of 3. And I didn't want the two to be too close to one another. So the one by the cup, I actually put over on this side instead of in the more obvious space on the cup. I'm going to put them on either side close to amongst the flowers on that card. And then here, I'm just going to put them down in this little white corner. And I'm making it so that they're in sets of 3 for the most part, and so that they're not all the same color and not all the same size either. I'll put 3 more up here. So as you can see, I just sprinkled them around, and now I'm just taking out some because there were too many. I knew when I sprinkled them that I would then be taking some away. I'm using my pickup stick from We Are Memory Keepers. We stock these. I know these can be a little bit tricky to find. but we keep them in stock in the shop. We ran out for a little bit there, but we have them back again. So if you're looking for one of these, we also sell this glue. This is Art Glitter Dries Clear Glue. We sell a smaller bottle than this, but we did sell this, but it sold out, and now we sell the smaller bottles. With the metal tips, it's the best way to lay sequins that I have ever tried, and I've been doing this for a long time. So this is this is finally, it took me this long to figure out that these pickup sticks are very, very helpful. Other people have been using them for years, but I'm late to the pickup stick party. So here is how the page turned out. Before I share the photos, just a quick shout out to my Patreon supporters. These folks help make this channel happen, so big thanks to all of them. Patrons get early ad-free access to my process videos and real-time unedited versions of my videos. They also get access to a monthly live stream, some behind-the-scenes videos, and some exclusive process videos as well. A little library of exclusive videos from a few years ago. So here are the photos of this spread. This one was so much fun to do, and I know that it was a long one, so thank you for bearing with me. I know some of you love the long process videos, so this one is for you if you're one of those people. And if you're not, you probably clicked out by now, but if you stuck with me, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. The next one will be shorter because the process didn't take as long. These Project Life spreads, sometimes they take a while, but I think they're really worth it. I find them very satisfying to create, and they are my most viewed projects of my family members. They are always pulling out Project Life and having a look at what we've done over the years. So here are some of the places that you can reach me, including my Patreon and our Kit Club and our Facebook group. And we also have another sharing Facebook group just for generally sharing your projects. Thanks so much for watching, and have a really great scrappy week. Feel free to check out any of these videos, subscribe if you haven't already, and check out my Pocket Page playlist, which includes all of the process videos that I've ever created for Project Life, which I have done for many years now. Take care.